Have you heard of that term, build 20 doors for your retirement plan? Well, I heard it today, and I've heard it a few times before, but I never paid much attention to it. And there was a commercial realtor that explained it to us in our BNI. So I'm Kathy Burns, and this is Real Estate Riches. Let's talk about things like that. What are you doing for your end game in your retirement? How are you going to stop doing real estate, especially in this market, right? The older you get, and as you can see, I'm a little bit older myself, there's got to be an end game. So he gets up there, his name's Mike, and he's a commercial realtor. Did a great job explaining it to us all, how he's been on this path to build 20 doors. And the 20 doors, each door represented a rental property. Could be a residential home, it could be 20 apartment doors in a unit, you know what I'm saying? But the process was buy two doors a year as an investment plan so that you would start to have residual income. So at the end of 10 years, you've got your 20 doors. And supposedly, and he was calculating that you would have $5,000 a month in rent. Now, I would imagine personally that it would be more than that because over a 10-year period of time, also you've gotten appreciation on your investment, but you've had repairs, you've had depreciation that you're writing off that comes to a limit. I haven't done investments like that, although my mother did. She was a big fan. It was a nightmare for me, but that's another story. So anyway, he was saying that you would have a monthly income coming in of around $5,000 a month based on that theory. And I was thinking to myself, shoot, I've got more than that coming in on residual income, and I'm doing it with agents instead of doors. Now, is there an appreciation value on my agent? There's a potential to have an appreciation agent on my agents. I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, I'm going to just tell you a little story. My mom was on that path. She was a realtor herself. She started later in life. I think she was probably 48, 49 when she started in a brand new state, building her career in real estate. And she probably bought, I don't know, maybe one. She had a total of five when I got her at 80 when I was taking care of her. So she had five. Now her goal was not 20 doors. Her goal was one for each child so that if she died, she could leave a house to each kid. That was kind of nice. And that's because as a wedding present, and my mom and dad were given three new construction homes that my grandfather had built. Each one of his kids got three brand new homes on the block. So we all lived around the block from each other. What a gift what that was, right? Now I know that they rented out two of them. We lived in one, and now I was an infant at the time, but it evolved because through the years we lived in all three of those houses, and that was a nice base for my folks. I wish they had done that for me, but the world had changed by then. Anyway, so I kept thinking today about the 20 doors and how many realtors actually do that. The truth is, very, very few realtors who do real estate as a career, that's their main career, have much of a retirement plan. You don't hear many retirement parties for realtors. So, what are they doing? Now, there's a few rock stars that are brilliant. There's this gal here who I admire greatly. Now, she's in her early 50s and she is just traveling the world. I don't even know where her home base is for her because I'm constantly following her on Facebook and she's all over the world and she's living the dream life. However, to get to that dream life, she worked her tail off and she had investment properties like crazy. I think she did have 20 doors at one point and she started selling them off. They were rentals that she worked. She was heavy also in commercial, actually land that was development property. Some for projects took years and years and years to come to fruition. But the point was she had a vision and she worked it just like this guy Mike does today. And but I don't see that very often. I really, really don't. A few people have it, and they're probably just struggling to get through life as a realtor, especially in this market. Past few years has been crazy. I interviewed an agent today down in Florida, and he says there is an abundance of homes in his area in Florida, and so everything's staying on the market longer. Even though they have a bunch of people moving down there, they have too much inventory. So that is definitely a buyer's market versus a seller's market. So they're struggling too. And I want to say that if you did a poll of all real estate agents, most have very little savings. They count on the equity that they're building in their own home. They could be behind on their taxes. And so, what solutions are there? Well, I had one that I was exposed to almost 8 years ago. Now I'm with EXP Realty, and I was with Keller Williams at the time that I joined my team that I'm currently on, and that is the LePage Johnson team. And I was going through a rough patch myself. I had started this career at nearly 56 years old, and I was dead broke. So at 56 years old, trying to build a retirement plan by yourself in a new state, um, in the market where that was 2006 when I got my real estate license, that went up and quickly crashed. Took years before it started to come back. And when you're trying to start over, those were lean years for me. So as I'm getting older, my very first house, the one I'm in right now, I bought at 67 years old, all by myself. I had a house when I was married with my husband, but all by myself at 67 years old, man, I was excited as I could be to even make that happen. Talk a retirement plan? Not at all. And the beauty of it was when I joined this team, 2 weeks later, they decided to go to EXP. Well, I just said yes. Why? Because I trusted them. I knew that whatever they had chosen, they'd probably checked it out. I didn't check it out at all. I was going through a rough patch as well in my life because now I was bringing on my mom. Now, thank God she'd had those homes, and she'd sold off three. I sold off one while I had her, and another one, oh, probably a year later, before she died. And we used that money from those two homes to help her with the expenses of those later years because I didn't have it. I didn't have it to help her, and my family didn't either. So here I am trying to help my mom, try to build a business, and talk about having the savings plan. That was just not there until I started with EXP. And EXP gave me something that I never had before, and that was really kind of hope that I could actually have an end game. And it gave me one. Now I've been there almost 8 years now. So one of the biggest things that it did was offer stock to be able to buy stock at a discount, which I started to do right away because really I didn't do it for savings. I did it as a backup plan if I didn't have money to pay for my taxes. Because I had gone round and round with the IRS early on and it wasn't pretty. And I needed to clean up all those expenses. I needed to get ahead. And for years and years and years, I was just hanging on by my fingernails. And at a later age in life, when a lot of people were hoping to be retired, I was really launching. So that was difficult. So when it said you can take 5% of your commission and buy the stock, at that time it was a 20% discount, and the shares were only $2.80 a share. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that all day long. And they were liquid in 30 days. So if I had an emergency, which I did periodically, and that was a lifesaver for me. Man, I loved it because I was making money on that stock right off the bat. And fortunately, that stock kept going up and up as the company grew and grew and grew. So in addition to that, it's that we will just give you stock at your first transaction. If you bring somebody over, we will give you stock on their first transaction, just like we'll give them stock. Now that would be vested. So that started a savings plan that I couldn't touch, which was also good. Even though I needed liquid, I needed to be able to not touch some. So that stock was held for, and still is, so that kind of process is still done. And that's a 3-year vesting period. It's a golden handcuffs, an incentive to not leave because you don't want to walk away from that gifted stock, right? So I started to have a stock portfolio. I started to have a vesting portfolio that I saw as like my retirement plan. But on top of that, they also paid me liquid once a month if I brought agents over to this company because I thought it was a better thing for them and they thought it was a better thing for them. I started to get paid. And before I knew it, it was growing and growing and growing on a monthly number that, man, I became so obsessed with. And I thought, I love the three things that it's doing for me right now, that it's changing my end game. Just those three things, it was changing my end game. And right from the beginning, it had something even better. And that was collaboration. Never seen it at any of the companies I'd been with before. I've always been a scrapper trying to figure out how to do this business, how to level up, how to create systems. I coaches I hadn't heard of in my scenario where I was learning my business. It wasn't viable to be able to, in my mind, afford them. So I was doing everything I could to figure out how to create systems, because the companies didn't provide anything. There was no database of sorts. The tech that they had, almost every company I was with had pretty lousy tech, and I'm a techie. So I was doing my best to create my own systems. At one point, I had a business partner, and we hired an assistant, and one of them was great, and she created systems on steroids for me, color coded them. I had file folders with everything. If I had a buyer that happened, I already had a file ready to go with all the stuff in it that I needed to fill out, and that was a dream. If we had a listing, all the checklists of all the things to do were there. I i am not an organized person. I need an organized person in my life to put me on that path, and that was a dream in my business. Now, over at EXP, when I joined the team, we had that on the team. And our gal, Amy, she's just a trooper and does so much of that for me. So we have that through EXP. I have it because of that team, Craig LePage and Shelley Johnson, the team that I joined. It's here in Lake Norman, North Carolina, and we're a mega team. And we started to grow. The team itself started to grow. So what they did as owners was reinvest into the team, and they had hired a trainer for newer agents to come on. April is our trainer and mentor for the agents on the team who want to level up. And we've got Sue, who's the general manager of our team. And so it really started running like clockwork. And just having that resource there was powerful. Also, our team, Craig LePage, he's a maniac marketer. That was a big draw for me to be on the team. But also, they let me act like I'm a boss. And that's fun for me too. So anyway, what I started to see was my rev share because I was inviting agents over to this. I saw the power of what this company was doing. I was going to different events around the country and even over to Cabo where they started once a year. But as it had started to evolve and go global, last year I was in Portugal. These are things I couldn't have even dreamed of affording before because the revenue share is into my world. The stock portfolio grew and grew. The fact that my business grew, I became a luxury specialist with my waterfronts. All these different things happened as a result of joining EXP. Do I see an end game? Yes, I really do. Because now I'm doing things like these videos, I do the podcast. I'm turning into a coach perspective. I'm liking that. I'm doing outgoing referrals worldwide, getting income from that. I'm teaching agents how to think bigger instead of this little circle because this world is a global world. I'm teaching on a regular monthly event now webinars on AI, primarily ChatGPT, so that realtors can get a head start. I'm doing that to give back to realtors. I'm also hoping that realtors will see, hey, Kathy's got some interesting stuff there. We should go talk to her about EXP. If that's you, come on. I'd love to talk. I am not pushing anybody because I've been down that path of trying to beg people into it. It's not worth it. And if you don't have hustle and you don't have a drive to build your business, it may not be for you either. This is for business builders, people who want access to all the most incredible tools, want access to the most incredible collaboration you ever saw, access to be able to do outgoing referrals to countries seamlessly because it's one company. It's so internal. I'm building a business globally, and right now, the agents that I've introduced and the ones that they've introduced as well, I'm now in 6 states and 2 countries, building a residual income that will ideally be sustainable for me to be able to walk away from having to do production anymore. That's my goal. I'll be nearly 75 this year. I'm feeling like that was something I was never going to be able to attain on the path that I was before EXP. The platform of EXP's been tried to be duplicated by 200 other companies because it changed the industry. It's changed the industry. We've been number one in production for the past 3 years over any other company out there. That's a big deal. So it's not just a recruiting company. If you think it is, you're really mistaken. Our competitors don't have to be our competitors, but the truth is they're losing so much talent to EXP because it is where the pros are going to grow. They're coming here. And it's not just individual agents, it's whole teams, people selling off their franchises and coming over because they see more options. They see tech, they see collaboration, they see a world platform that they can do business in. And that's what I'm offering to you. That's what I want you to think about. What is your end game? It's important. And if you're not planning on it, it'll all of a sudden be here before you know it, and you won't be prepared. So come on, let's talk about it. There's no pressure here, as I said. And if you like things like this, please subscribe below. And also, one more thing, I want to invite you to a collaborative Facebook group called Real Estate Riches Collective, where I have all kinds of stuff in there on AI. I want you to learn AI. If you're not learning AI, you're going to be in trouble. So I do a lot with AI in there. However, what I'm looking for is collaboration where you share your gold, so and so shares their gold. And now we have all kinds of stuff where you go to, like saying, I got an issue. Now, this is not a spot for drama or smart ass remarks. I don't want any part of that. You'll be booted. This is for empowerment, and you can be empowered, and let's be empowered. So I hope you join that group because that's a big deal. The other thing is, please, if you do want to have a conversation, reach out to me and have a business strategy call. It's important that you discuss the options that you have for your future. You can say no. I may say no to you that maybe you need to check out somebody else. It's a brand new feature called co-sponsoring where we're able to lock arms with some pretty powerful trainers out there. So be sure and ask me about that. I will be doing a video on that one shortly. But in the meantime, let's have a future. Let's get that hope reality. And just like it is for me, it can be for you. So if you like this, subscribe, stay tuned, and see you on the next one.